Alright, so in this problem, I have 4 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 130. So to solve this, first off, if I have something in form a to the power of m times n, a to the power of m plus n, this is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So 4 to the power of x plus 3, that's going to equal 4 to the power of x times 4 to the power of 3, which is equal to 130. And now, if I factor out 4 to the power of x, I get 4 to the power of x times 1 plus 4 to the power of 3 is equal to 130. And 4 to the power of 3, that's going to equal 64. So I have 4 to the power of x times 1 plus 64 is equal to 130. And 1 plus 64 is 65. So I have 4 to the power of x times 65 is equal to 130. And now if I divide both sides by 65, I get 4 to the power of x is equal to 2. And from here, to solve this, I'm going to first rewrite 4 as 2 squared. So I have 2 squared to the power of x is equal to 2. And if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. So 2 to the power of 2x, that's going to equal 2 to the power of 2 times x, which is simply 2x, is equal to 2. And 2 is the same thing as 2 to the power of 1. Now, if I have something in form a to the power of m is equal to a to the power of n, this means that m is equal to n. So I get 2x is equal to 1. Now, if I divide both sides by 2, I get x is equal to 1/2. So now, to check, my original equation was 4 to the power of x plus 4 to the power of x plus 3 is equal to 130. So 4 to the power of x, well, 4 to the power of 1/2 is 2. So I have 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 3 is equal to 130. 4 to the power of 1/2 plus 3 is the same thing as 4 to the power of 5 over 2. Actually, sorry, this is supposed to be 7 over 2. And 4 to the power of 7 over 2 is 128. Sorry, 2 to the power of 128 is 130, and I get 130 is equal to 130. Alright, so in this problem, I have x to the power of x plus 1 is equal to x. So to solve this, I'm going to start by subtracting x on both sides. So then these two cancel out, and I'm left with x to the power of x plus 1 minus x is equal to 0. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m plus n, this is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So x to the power of x plus 1, this is going to be equal to x to the power of x times x to the power of 1. Now I have this minus x is equal to 0. Now if I factor out x, I get x times x to the power of x minus 1 is equal to 0. So now this gives me two equations. I have x is equal to 0, and I have x to the power of x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x equals 0. This is already a solution. Now for x to the power of x minus 1 equals 0, I'm going to add 1 on both sides. So then these two cancel out, and I get x to the power of x is equal to 1. Now, because x has to be the same number, we obviously know that, well, what number to the power of itself is equal to 1? That's going to be 1, right? Because 1 to the power of 1 is equal to itself. So x is equal to 1. And there's no other number that when you take the power of itself is going to equal 1. Meaning x equals 1 is the only solution to this equation. So now to check, the original equation was x to the power of x plus 1 is equal to x. So x to the power of x plus 1 is equal to x. And our first solution is 0. So if I plug in 0, I get 0 to the power of 0 plus 1 is equal to 0. Now 0 plus 1 is 1, so I have 0 to the power of 1 equals 0, and 0 to the power of any number is itself, so I get 0 equals 0. Now to check for 1, I get 1 to the power of 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, so I get 1 to the power of 2 is equal to 1, and 1 to the power of any number itself, so 1 equals 1. Alright, so in this problem, I have x to the power of x is equal to 9 to the power of x plus 81. So to solve this problem, if I have something in the form a to the power of m plus n, this is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So right here I have 9 to the power of x plus 81. And I can rewrite this as 9 to the power of x times 9 to the power of 81. Now, I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 9 to the power of x. So these two cancel out. Now I have x to the power of x over 9 to the power of x is equal to 9 to the power of 81. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m over b to the power of m, this is equal to a over b to the power of m. So x to the power of x over 9 to the power of x, this is going to equal x over 9 to the power of x, which is equal to 9 to the power of 81. Now, I'm going to take the power of 1 over 9 on both sides. So I have x to the power of 9 to the power of x over 9 is equal to 9 to the power of 81 over 9. And 81 divided by 9, that's going to equal 9. So I have x over 9 to the power of x over 9 is equal to 9 to the power of 9. And now if I have something in the form a to the power of a is equal to b to the power of b, then this means that a is equal to b. So in this case, I have x over 9 to the power of x over 9 equals 9 to the power of 9. So this means that x over 9 is equal to 9, and x is equal to 81. So now to check, my original equation was x to the power of x equals 9 to the power of x plus 81, and x is equal to 81. So I have 81 to the power of 81 is equal to 9 to the power of 81 plus 81. And 81 to the power of 81, that's the same thing as 9 squared to the power of 81 is equal to 9 to the power of 162. And this is the same thing as 9 to the power of 162. So I have 9 to the power of 162 is equal to 9 to the power of 162. And this is right.